Here's what's beginning to happen, and it's rattling the left because they don't know what to do about it. It's one thing for them to be angry at Christians because those of us who are Bible-believing Christians believe that there's a definite difference between men and women. There are two genders. God created male and female, created he, them, the Scripture says. And so we believe that. But you know who else believes that? Muslims. And Muslims are rising up against this. In the Montgomery County, Maryland School Board, it was the Muslims who showed up to protest the curriculum.
Protect our children! Protect our children! Protect all children! Protect our 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 children!
Protect our children, the Muslim mothers are saying. Good for them. You know, now we've got something absolutely in common. Here's what's frightening. While if you sign up and line up with those who believe that men can have babies and, you know, you need to buy tuck-friendly clothing for your children at Target, you're going to be really opposed to people like this guy who's standing on public property. This past week in Reading, Pennsylvania, got arrested for protesting a pride parade. I want you to watch this and think about what this says for your faith if you're a Christian.
You know who's cheering for us? The people that are in hell. So you do you, and I'm going to do me. This is public property. You. God is not. That's all. Grab this one, your brother.
Getting this on film.
Can I give him my bag? I'll stuff him. Joe, I'm going to need you to go to 128.
I'm the executive director of Reading Pride Celebration, and it is my
God bless you, brother.
Wish you all.
I hope this guy gets some good lawyers from maybe the ACLJ or Alliance Defending Freedom or Pacific Justice Institute or Liberty Counsel or one of the organizations and sues the ever-living daylights out of the Reading city government and police department. I really do. That is frightening to me that a guy standing on public property, minding his business in a protest that was peaceful and legit, he gets arrested because he didn't agree with the gay pride parade. Yeah. That's really disturbing. I don't know if you know this, but did you realize the Democrats and all the people on the really radical left, they're very, very normal people, according to them. People that want to mutilate the genitals of young children and chemically castrate them. The ones that don't know the difference between a man and a woman and believe that men can get pregnant, they're the normal people according to themselves. Just watch.
We know that Democrats, President Biden, folks in the House and the Senate, we're team reasonable, we're team normal, we're team get stuff done.
Mm-hmm. Very normal, very, very normal indeed. I'm just stunned that they think that the things they stand for, including let's get rid of gas stoves, you know, let's make everybody buy an electric car, even though we don't have enough electricity to run what we have electrically now, but let's go get cars, that way it'll really shut the grid down. That all of this is normal. This is insane. It's totally, totally crazy. Interestingly, in the midst of all this, do you wonder when the timing of this story about Donald Trump came out in the indictment? What happened yesterday? Well, I'll tell you what happened. Christopher Wray finally turned over that Form 1023, the FBI form, to the Oversight Committee in Congress because he was on the verge of being held in contempt of Congress. So I guess he finally said, well, okay, I'll let him have it. And he did. And they came out saying, we saw this, and there's evidence from a very highly credible, confidential human source that Joe Biden, the sitting president, who was then vice president, took $5 million in an outright bribe to influence foreign policy. That's a big story. Now, how do you bury a story that big? Well, first of all, you give it to a press that doesn't care. Secondly, you create a story that's so big to the press that they ignore this one. And that's exactly what they did. And Joe Biden is asked about, what about this evidence that you took money from a foreign government? Here's his funny answer. He should be a comedian.
Bribery allegation. Congress Congresswoman Nancy Mace says there's damning evidence in the FBI file that you sold out the country. Do you have a response to the congressional Republicans?
Where's the money? I'm joking.
Mr. President,
It's a bunch of malarkey.
Mr. President, what?
Well, I think we should know where's the money. I mean, after all, this guy, we know what his salary's been, $174,000 a year as a senator, and then it got to be a little better than that, not much better as vice president. And he owns several homes, and these are high-dollar homes, and you wonder, where did he get that? I mean, he's been in government service this time. How do you become a multimillionaire? Well, maybe it's because you're on the take, and that's what we need to find out. I think it's interesting that the thing that Joe Biden is most concerned about is not the integrity of the country, not going after a former president in some phony criminal indictment. Here's what matters to him most, to make sure that we have transgender people in the military. I ain't making this up.
As president, I was proud to end the ban on transgender troops in our military, sign the Respect for Marriage Act, strengthen the civil rights protections for LGBT Americans, and advance LGBT human rights around the globe.
There you go. LGBT, E-I-E-I-O. Normal, total normal. That's what we want for our troops. It's more important, not that they can fire a gun or, use a cannon or fly an airplane and drop bombs. That doesn't matter. As long as the men are comfortable in a skirt, that's what matters. This is Janet Yellen. She's talking about, even though we've had record revenues at the federal level, maybe you don't know that, but we have had record levels of money coming in. So how is it that we're running a $31 trillion deficit or debt? 31 trillion debt. How come we have a deficit if we got more money coming in than we've ever had? It's because we're spending more than even the more money that we have. And in spite of that, Janet Yellen won't admit that we're spending too much. She says we need to raise more money. Watch.
Revenue needs to be part of that discussion. It's not all a matter of spending. I think we, in the interest of tax fairness and having the resources to invest in our economy, we also need to be considering proposals that would enhance revenue while also controlling spending.
I pulled up some figures, and I think this may help you understand something. This idea that, well, the rich people aren't paying their fair share. A little fact here for Janet Yellen and for anyone else. In 2018, the top 1% of income earners, that 1% that Elizabeth Warren hates so much, they earned 21% of all U.S. income, but they paid 40% of all federal income taxes. So they paid far more than anyone else. The top 10% earned 48% of the income. They paid 71% of all federal income taxes. So when you hear people say the people at the top don't pay their fair share, by percentage, they're paying far more. And it goes another way. The lowest income Americans end up paying about 0.04%. That's what the tax cut. No, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. The lowest income people, after the Trump tax cuts, their taxes were lowered by 10%. The top 1%, their taxes were lowered by 0.04%. So there's this notion that the rich people aren't paying their fair share. The fact is they're paying 71% of all the taxes that are collected. So I don't see how you can end up saying they're not paying their fair share. Hey, Mike Huckabee here. Listen, if you love your mom, apple pie, and being conservative, you know you ought to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and click the like button and show all the leftists out there that conservatives are thriving and patriotism is far from dead. Am I pandering too much? No way. I'm just getting started.